Eagles are rolling right now. And this feels more real than at any point last year for me. This Eagles team right now feels more real than the Eagles team did last year. And it got to a point where when they were 10-1, where you kind of just had to say, hey, they're winning games. I can't complain or I can't criticize the team. They're finding ways to win games. But they were finding ways to win games. And they stopped finding ways to win games. It's tough to constantly be able to win these close games. And this week you do this, and that week you do this. This team has been dominant, albeit against some lesser opponents. But the defense, to me, feels real this year. I don't think they're going anywhere. They're young. They're athletic. They don't know what they don't know, which is the expectations now are, hey, this team can go to the Super Bowl. The one thing that I worry about is the slow starts. The Eagles are averaging 9.8 points in the first half this season. That's 19th in the NFL. So you're talking about a top team in the NFL, which the Eagles are a top 5 team. Normally, you would think that they get off to better starts. They're not even split down the middle. They're 19th in the NFL. Not good. What is good is they lead the league in second half points, 16.1 points per game in the second half. So once they get rolling in the second half, The worry is that against a better opponent, the slow start's going to bite you in the ass. So they got to clean that up and they got to figure that out. Now, the Rams are healthy for the first time this year. Really now, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are back. 5-5. They started 1-4. The Rams, it's been a couple times where the Rams have started slow, and I've written the eulogy like, yep, there you go. Rams are done. They're not climbing back in it this year. They have. They're healthy. Matt Stafford, if you can protect them, is still dangerous. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are among the top wide receiver tandems in the league. But the Eagles also have their young secondary. I can't wait to see what they look like against what can be a high-powered offense, especially at home in Los Angeles. The Rams have a very good and explosive defensive line. Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, who is one of the favorites to win Rookie of the Year. Turner could have won it last year. Braden Fisk, who's been very good. He leads the team in sacks. The Rams secondary is not good. So if you can protect Hurts, and the interior also has a good pass rush with the Rams, it's just not coming from ends. Protecting Hurts is the biggest key in this game because I expect the Eagles to try to throw the football based on the way that the secondary has performed for the Rams. And then second half, run the ball and run it down their throat. That's when the Eagles have been at their best, when they can run the ball in the second half. Don't give up on the run in the first half. But to me, it feels like that if you're game planning for the Rams, you're going to want to throw the football. I'll be curious to see what the Eagles have for on Sunday night. The Rams also have kicker issues. Their kicker, Joshua Carty, McVay is actually on the record saying that he doesn't have a lot of confidence, and he's passed up on a couple of field goals that he normally would have taken. How worried are we about Jake Elliott is the question. Can I let you know after this game on Sunday night? Because this has happened with Jake before. I remember, might have even been the year after the Super Bowl or soon after the Super Bowl, maybe 19 or 20, where you know how kickers are. Sometimes you lose them, you lose them. Justin Tucker's really struggling right now. We'll see where he goes. But Elliott, after struggling during the course of a year, really turned it back around. He's been one of the best kickers in NFL history. So I hope he's able to turn it around. As far as this game, so you have the Rams and then you have the Ravens at next week, 4:25. So you're going Sunday Night Football. You're in Los Angeles. You got to go all the way back across country. These guys probably aren't getting home until 7 o'clock in the morning on Monday. So it starts your week off. It changes the routine. It changes a little bit of everything. Players will tell you that, it does affect them. It's not a huge effect. The Ravens have this week? We were just talking about this, Tyler, because I'm picking the Ravens.
L.A. playing the Chargers on Monday Night Football.
They're playing the Chargers in Los Angeles. So both of these teams are in Los Angeles. Yes. So they're going to have the same thing where they're coming back. They're flying West Coast to East Coast. So if the Ravens were to win this week against the Chargers and they're favored as well, then you kind of like, all right, I expect the Eagles to win one of these games and to lose one of these games. So if they lose to the Rams, I think they beat the Ravens. If they beat the Rams, I think they lose to the Ravens. The Ravens really can't afford many losses here because they have 4, and that's more than they probably should have at this point. So I'm picking the Eagles to win, but I think it's a close game. So I'm going to take the Eagles 24-23 in a nail biter.
Wow. Okay.
And they win the game, but they don't cover. The line would have you believe that they cover the game. I just think this is a tough game because Sean McVay has done well against the Eagles. He's a master schemer. And I just think this year they're a good football team at home, and the Eagles are a good football team. But I'll take them to win a short one. Here, how are you feeling about this week there, Tyler Zubin?
I feel better apparently than you do. I look at this game, and I think you're right. I do believe that they're going to win one of the next 2 games, and we've talked about this earlier in the week. If I had my druthers, they would win this game if we believe they're going to split. Like, obviously, we would prefer a 2-0, 2 weeks. But if we believe they're going to split, I would much prefer they beat the Rams and to lose to the Ravens than inversely. Then people are going to go, well, you beat the bad team and the lesser team, and you lost to the better team. I'm not worried about the eye test of it, particularly right now. I'm worried about the conference record, and beating the Rams would be more beneficial to you than beating the Ravens would be. You've already lost twice within the conference. Outside of your division, you've lost to the Falcons, you've lost to the Buccaneers. You can't really afford a third non-division loss within the NFC.
You're going to lose any tiebreaker to the Lions.
Right. So, listen,
Yes.
You might lose to Washington when you play them again. You might lose to, Baltimore or Pittsburgh in the next couple of weeks because, either A, they're good teams, and B, with Washington specifically, it's a divisional game. It's hard to beat a team twice in a season, when they're a good team. If everything were to play out the way that you want it to play out, and we think they go 1-1, I would much prefer they win this week than they do next week. With that being said, I think they do win this week, and I think they win this game by more than what you are giving them credit for. I am going to take them with the points. I think they win this game 27-20, and I'm going to lay out 2 reasons as to why. I think this is a Jalen Hurts game.
Ooh.
And the reason I think that this is a Jalen Hurts game, through the air specifically, the Rams are an opportunistic pass defense. They have 10 interceptions this year. That is tied for 7th in the NFL. They also give up 67% completion percentage, and they give up the 3rd most yards per attempt at 8.2. Only Dallas and Jacksonville give up more. I believe that Jalen Hurts, even though he started slow in the game against the Cowboys, had pretty good days against both of those teams. Now, granted, he was helped out by the fact that he was good on the ground against Dallas, but I think he had really good days against both of those teams. I am expecting Jalen Hurts to be, as long as he's protective of the football, and I said, the Rams have 10 interceptions this year. That's a pretty high number. Again, 7th across football, but they give up a lot of completions, a high completion percentage at 66%, and they give up the 3rd most yards per attempt at 8.2. If the Eagles are able to protect the football, and that starts with Jalen Hurts, and then inversely, they're able to slow Kyren Williams down. The Rams have 5 losses this year. In 3 of those 5 losses, Kyren Williams went for 60 or less yards. 62 or less. 62 against Miami, 25 against the Cardinals in week 2, 50 against the Lions in week 1. Now, he did have 102 against Green Bay in a loss, but in the Rams' 5 wins this year, he's gone for 89, 97, 76, and 86 yards. Now, he hasn't scored a rushing touchdown in 4 weeks after scoring 1 in the first 6 weeks of the NFL season. If you can contain Kyren Williams and force Matt Stafford to beat you, who's been good, who's gotten the ball out of his hands quickly, and as you mentioned, gets his receivers starting to be a little bit more healthy. I think if Jalen Hurts plays a solid protective game, a turnover-free game or close to it, plus they're able to bottle up Kyren Williams the way that some of the Rams opponents have over the last couple of weeks, I think they're going to win this game by more than the 3 and by more than you're giving them credit for. I'm going to take the Eagles 27-20 in this one, and I think they do cover the 3-point line.